Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, and we're back with Hannibal. And I just realized that this is the last episode of the Second Punic War. I'm bittersweet, like I always say at the end of these series. But this one especially. But I have been reminded by you guys in the comments, thank you, that there is a third Punic War, which is awesome, which leaves hope. It's kind of like this is like, like if you had like a three-part movie, we're in movie number two, we're at the climactic ending, of movie number two. And yeah, so this is the Battle of Cannae. It is like this is a third chapter of a three chapter, and first chapter is basically getting there. The second chapter, the maneuvering, and then this one is the stage is set. You got each army on each side ready to do battle. Ready to do battle. And this is a 22-minute episode, which is actually really awesome because this might be the longest episode of this series. Maybe not, but of this three parts, it will be, and which is pretty amazing considering the pieces are already in place, and so there's not that like pre-battle buildup because we've already had it, and so this is, I'm assuming, is all battle. Well, I guess it's not all battle because this is the season finale, so there has to be like a the fallout of what happens after, this battle. So, which might set up for the third Pune. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I just know that this is going to be an amazing battle because there's been so much build up. There's three chapters. You guys have built it up, so I know it's going to be amazing. And it's Hannibal, and there's got to be something amazing about this, but it can't just be two armies clashing. There's got to be some like very smart tactics, very surprising stuff. Like I've heard you guys say a bunch of times in the comments that they still use this battle today, because we'll look back on. I don't know why. Obviously, I'll find out this episode, but yeah, super excited. And man, come on, Hannibal. I'm sorry, guys. I'm rooting for Hannibal. I know he's not going to win. But I want him to go down and take a bunch of dudes with him. I'm sorry. I want him. He might lose, but he might. I want him to kind of come out where, like, you might win. Like, I wanted to come out where he was like a sliver away from winning this battle in the war. And I don't know. And him just like, obviously, I guess this would have, since it's been remembered to today, leave like a lasting impression on me and everyone. Obviously, it has, considering it's still remembered. You guys know what I'm saying. But anyways, I'm super excited for this. I've been at work all day, and because when I'm at work on my breaks and stuff, kind of scroll through like the comments and see what people are saying and stuff like that. So I really appreciate all you cool, amazing people in the comments because you guys are really smart, polite people, and very, very knowledgeable. And so I just want to appreciate you guys, being with me through this journey through Hannibal. I know a lot of you have been through all these other journeys with me through all these other series, and I hope you guys continue in the future with me. But I just want to say thank you and appreciate all the support here, and it's been a blast. It really has been a blast. Great series, and you guys want me to do Hannibal for a while, and I definitely know why now. And this is the icing on the cake. We get to see an awesome battle. I hope. I know it's going to be an awesome battle, but you know what I'm saying? But anyways, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button if you're new here. If you are new here, why are you just here for this battle? You should be this is the movie, guys. This is the ending of the movie. You need to watch from the beginning because, yeah, it makes putting in like the time. I don't want to say like that because it feels like it's such a I don't know, like a chore to make it through the series when obviously it's been a pleasure, but when you've gone through the steps and you know the history and uh, the past that built up to this battle, it makes it a lot more sweeter, if you know what I mean. Instead of just going straight to battle when and seeing the awesomeness. Once you kind of know the characters and the blood, sweat, and tears that led up to this, it makes it a whole lot sweeter. So in these series, I definitely like suggest watching a whole thing instead of just like watching like the most exciting part, even though I haven't seen this yet. Just my 2 cents. I mean, I appreciate you, friends. The history family we got going on here. It's always a pleasure, and I hope that history and stuff like this catches on more, because I think it's a shame that a lot of people aren't, because I know a lot of people, friends and that who know, or just people in general that I kind of tell about my channel that they have no idea what I'm talking about. And so it's kind of sad, because history is so amazing, and a lot of people, I feel like, they're being left out, or not left out, but they're not as open-minded about this kind of stuff, or just not interested. I don't know. I mean, let me get to the video here, guys. I've been blabbering on long enough. You guys probably not even talking, listening to me. You probably already skipped ahead to the battle. I wonder how much of you guys actually listen to my pre and after video stuff, and because I know some people probably just like jump ahead to the actual start of the video and not listen to this. So anyways, I mean, stop. Because it's a long video here, guys, and I know you guys want me to get on with it. So anyways, let's do this. Anyways, like and subscribe, and take a sip of my drink. Drinking Dr. Pepper cream soda, 0. 3, 2, 1, bam.
Hey guys, the Battle of Cannae has 3 chapters.
Yep.
If you missed the previous one, you can find it here.
There you go.
On a sweltering August 2nd, the battle standard in front of Varro's tent signaled to the troops to array for battle. As the gusts of southwesterly Volturnus wind raised clouds of fine dust across the dry Apulian soil, for the next several hours, army officers closely supervised the complex deployment to ensure that the legions would form in the correct order.
There's a lot of people.
Varro and the rest of the Roman leadership decided to show the enemy their willingness to fight. However, they had no way of knowing if the Carthaginians would accept a battle in this new location. But then, Hannibal led his troops through the gates. And as a fan of our channel, you should definitely check out our friends over at Curiosity Stream,
man,
my personal favorite streaming service that features thousands of doc stream. And by registering, you'll also be supporting our channel.
Here they come.
The 2 armies crossed the river Aufidius at various points and marched onto the dust-blown flat plain below the town of Cannae. Yet,
I find it, I guess, interesting. I guess because there's not enough land. Because never mind. I'm gonna say, why is Hannibal coming up with all these little dots coming out of his camp, and these guys got their whole like legions together here? But never mind. Sorry, I'm a brain fart here. All right, never mind.
blown flat plain below the town of Cannae. Yet the Romans still weren't sure that Hannibal would give battle, so they left a 10,000-strong garrison in the main camp. It was Paulus who insisted on this, arguing that besides guarding the baggage, this force could also threaten Hannibal's camp and cut off his line of retreat once the battle went in favor of the Romans. However, Hannibal wasted no time in deploying his army, sending out his light troops to form a protective screen for the main body. Varro too sent out the velites to mask the process of deployment from the enemy.
I wonder, because every time they do a battle with Hannibal, Hannibal surprises me somehow, and I know he's gonna have surprise of his trick, but like I wonder, like the troops down here, I wonder if they're gonna actually show them going to their hiding spots, or they're gonna surprise us and show them once it actually happens. I'm kind of curious to see how they play that.
Sent out the velites to mask the process of deployment from the enemy. There are suggestions that the Roman leadership didn't actually expect the more mobile Carthaginians to fight on such a narrow and confined battlefield, and merely wanted to deploy the legions in front of the enemy to boost morale and rebuild their confidence, after being humiliated the day before for refusing to fight. Such practices of building up the confidence of the men were common in the battles of this period, but it is far more probable that the Romans did, in fact, fully intend to fight this battle on the ground of their own choosing. Whatever the case, Hannibal is said to have had 40,000 infantry and 10,000 horse, while the Romans fielded around 70,000 infantry and 6,400 cavalry.
Yeah, because Hannibal is so outnumbered right here. Because we know how great the infantry of the Romans are, just how well trained they are, their armor and tactics. And I guess the cavalry, I don't think, even though Hannibal has a bigger cavalry, I don't think the bigger cavalry outweighs how many troops that Rome has. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Very.
And 6,400 cavalry. Varro placed a screen of around 15,000 velotus in front of the main line. 4,000 allied horse were positioned on the left under his direct command, while Paulus was in charge of the 2,400 Roman cavalry deployed on the right. To compensate for their numerical inferiority, the squadrons of horsemen were packed in a tighter formation, with no more than 1.5 meters between each rider. Room to maneuver the horses wasn't necessary, as their role would be purely defensive, while the infantry drove the attack forward. Okay. Regular Roman infantry was mixed with the cavalry to give more stability to the static squadrons. Servilius commanded the 55,000 Roman legionaries and allied troops in the center, arrayed in a much deeper and more tightly packed triplex Achis. Varro used the overstrength maniples to add depth to the infantry formations. Furthermore, he reduced the gaps between the lines to bring the full weight of the legions to bear, aiming to overwhelm the enemy. He knew that at Trasimene, the Roman heavy infantry held off the Carthaginians for hours, inflicting significant losses, despite being in an unfavorable position. And the year prior to that at Trebia, the legions hacked their way through the Carthaginian center, getting the better of both the Gauls and several contingents of Libyans, Hannibal's best infantry. It's worth noting that the tighter maniple formations restricted the tactical flexibility, but eased the coordination of the massive army, and, more importantly...
Yeah, because I was, like you said, I was kind of wondering, because the more tired you are, the less maneuverable. Like, if you have to, change on a dime, it's a lot harder when you're shoulder to shoulder with someone. And I was thinking, if Hannibal is able to do some kind of flanking maneuver here, it's going to be a lot harder, a lot slower for I think the Romans to react to it, because they just don't have that space, to kind of maneuver. So I wonder if that might come back to haunt him here in this battle, or I don't know, because Hannibal's not, I'm sorry, I don't believe it. Hannibal's not going to have a straight up thing, This battle has not been remembered for so long and been hyped up for so long because of just a straight battle. It's not happening. I'm just kind of wondering, does he got guys at nighttime, hiding in these trees over here, or maybe he had a group all the way come around behind him? But then again, the scouts would see it. I don't know, man. This is so
ability, but eased the coordination of the massive army, and, more importantly, the deeper formations possessed longer endurance in a direct confrontation. Thus, the Roman leadership was confident that the legions can outmatch the enemy and crush Hannibal's center yet again.
Yeah.
To achieve this, Varro chose the battlefield wisely. He packed the legions on a narrow front, with the river and the hills near Cannae protecting the flanks from envelopment. This would force the Carthaginian horsemen into a frontal charge, and the Roman cavalry was tasked with delaying long enough for the legions to finish the job.
Because right now I'm also thinking that it is true that it kind of stopped Hannibal's cavalry, but it's also doesn't kind of a little bit help Hannibal because the Romans had them extremely outnumbered. So if it was like a bigger battlefield, Rome could like stretch out their army to where it could kind of like fold in around them and like swallow them up, and that's not really an option here, So yeah, I'm kind of curious. Maybe it's a good and a bad. I don't know.
Cavalry was tasked with delaying long enough for the legions to finish the job. If they could break through the Punic center, it wouldn't matter if the weaker Roman horse lost a fight on the wings, because at that point the Carthaginian cavalry couldn't do much more than harass the large block of legions.
Yeah.
The selection of the battleground at Cannae could allow the heavy infantry to smash their Punic enemy. We do not know if Varro alone planned this, or if he was assisted by Paulus, Servilius, and other members of the Roman leadership. The Roman plan was simple but efficient. Meanwhile, Hannibal placed around 6,000 Spanish skirmishers and up to 2,000 renowned Balearic slingers as a screening force in front of the army, instructing them to raise as much dust as possible.
And you guys also pointed out to me when I was saying with the archers, like I figure archers been around forever. I was just kind of like surprised that archers hasn't been mentioned, but then I think someone said that they do more like spear throws and slingers, not really back in in these times where these armies didn't really use archers that much. That's why. So I just kind of wanted to point it out there since they brought up slingers. Okay, Anyways, yeah.
Screening force in front of the army, instructing them to raise as much dust as possible to hide the disposition of the troops. Behind them formed the close order infantry, with 21,000 Gallic warriors making up the bulk of the main line. 3,000 veteran Spanish infantry were interspersed to strengthen the center. But, unlike at Trebia, where his main line collapsed because he amassed all of his infantry to try and match the Romans, and didn't keep any reserves for decisive action and to plug the gaps in the line, this time he positioned the 8,000 Libyans, his best, most disciplined men, in the rear, hiding them from view behind the formations in the front. On the Punic right were 4,000 Numidian horsemen, commanded by Hanno, tasked with holding the flank, while on the opposite side, the Carthaginian general placed 2,000 Spanish and 4,000 Gallic cavalry under the command of Hasdrubal, planning to overload the left flank in a direct attack on the Roman right, hoping to smash the enemy cavalry and threaten the legions from the rear. Neither side was intimidated by the other. Gallic and Spanish troops had the confidence of past victories against the legions, while the Romans trusted in their superior numbers, remembering that even in prior defeats, their heavy infantry often prevailed in hand-to-hand combat against the Punic troops.
Yep.
Then, around midday, like a lumbering beast, the Roman formation moved forward.
Yeah!
The Carthaginian cavalry on the left led the line, trotting at pace, while the light infantry of both armies moved ahead of the main lines to open the engagement. Now, hidden behind the dust raised by the screen of skirmishers, Hannibal made his move, advancing with the main line to form a crescent formation that would bulge towards the enemy. He understood that the Romans chose this narrow battlefield to deploy their army as a battering ram, and that his outnumbered infantry stood no chance of stopping the legions if they tried matching them man for man. Therefore, the bulged line was supposed to absorb the attack and then slowly retreat, to buy time until the cavalry attack on the left unfolded. Hannibal personally commanded the troops in the center with the help of his youngest brother Mago, for these troops would bear the brunt of the Roman assault, and it was vital that they held out as long as possible.
Okay.
As the skirmishing between the light troops began in the middle of the field, Carthaginian riders on the left advanced full tilt towards the Roman citizen cavalry. With veteran officers leading the way, the Spanish and Gallic squadrons stayed compact, doubling up on and dispersing the first lines of Roman horsemen, quickly penetrating their formation. Some of the Roman riders dismounted to fight on foot, but the Carthaginians swarmed their positions, dragging their opponents from their seats.
Damn.
But despite outnumbering the Romans 3-1, the confined space largely negated the numerical advantage of the Punic riders, and Hasdrubal did well to tightly control his men, managing to overwhelm the Romans in a brief, furious charge. The Roman cavalry couldn't cope, and most of them broke and fled, with the Carthaginians now in hot pursuit. Others huddled together to hold off the Punic onslaught for as long as possible. Paulus himself escaped the carnage with his retinue and moved to rejoin the fighting in the center.
Hold on a second. So we're definitely going to get, after Carthage guys push them back, they're definitely obviously going to reform and come from the rear, and then these guys are probably gonna have to like turn around and stop, like at least the first line here to kind of to deal with them. I'm thinking right now because Hannibal knows that they're using this as a battering ram, and he knows this, and right now he says he's gonna buy time. I'm guessing buying time means to get his cavalry right here back, to get them from behind here, or to get troops in position that we don't really know about right now, maybe up in the hills here, so when they get pushed back, they come down from the side. I don't know, guys. I'm just trying to figure this out, because that's just fun. It's fun trying to figure it out, even though if I might be really wrong, it's kind of fun to kind of figure out what they're thinking as the battle goes on.
The Punic onslaught for as long as possible. Paulus himself escaped the carnage with his retinue and moved to rejoin the fighting in the center. Meanwhile, on the opposite flank, the Numidians pinned down the allied Italian cavalry with hit and run attacks, with neither side able to gain an advantage. In the center, after a long exchange of projectiles, the skirmishers retreated behind the close order infantry as the Roman legions closed in. The massed ranks of legionaries must have been an intimidating sight, advancing slowly while clashing their weapons against the wooden shields, whilst the trumpeters added to the cacophony of noise. As an almost solid mass of rank upon rank of armored legionaries clashed with the enemy, Hannibal's advanced center narrowed the width of the initial contact, reducing the deadly momentum of the Roman attack. The bare-chested Gauls hacking at the enemy with their long slashing swords, and the Spanish in their white tunics thrusting forward with their short blades, stood firm and held back the enemy for a time. But as more Roman troops entered the fray, the weight of the legions drove back the mixed Punic formation. Roman velators supported the attack, while the Carthaginian light footmen were ordered to reinforce the flanks of the infantry.
Man, just look at that mass right there, man. Like, look at this red. I mean, look how much red there is, and there's just not that much green. I know we got some backup back here, but still, man, that's a lot of red. Like I'm saying, like Hannibal has got something going on. Like there's something going on, and his cavalry has got to come in from behind that right here. The one that pushed them back. To mix things up. To cause chaos. Right? This is intense, man.
The Carthaginian light footmen were ordered to reinforce the flanks of the infantry. Hannibal and his officers barked orders at the men, telling them to stand off the Roman assault and slowly move back. Already overwhelmed by the wall of scutum shields pushing them back, ordering the troops to retreat further in the face of the enemy was fraught with risks. All it would take is a few men buckling under pressure to cause slight cracks in the line that could quickly break the formation and turn into a rout. But the Carthaginian general and his Punic captains led from the front, fighting alongside the troops in the first lines, encouraging the men to hold their nerve, carefully controlling their withdrawal. Hannibal knew that he had to stay in the fight and buy time until events elsewhere on the field unfolded, and for now, the line held. Close to the hills on the right, the light Numidian horsemen fought in small groups, throwing their javelins and rapidly retreating before the enemy could pin them down. However, their attacks caused very little damage, and Varro simply remained in place, making no effort to drive them back. The main role of the Roman cavalry was to prevent the enemy from flanking the infantry formation long enough until the main assault of the legions broke through the center. But on the other flank, the superior Carthaginian horse have by now decimated the Roman cavalry, completely routing them from the field. Next, Hasdrubal could move against the rear of the Roman center or help surround Varro's allied cavalry on the right. But first, he had to regroup and allow his men and horses time to rest, who were by now exhausted from pursuing the fleeing enemy cavalry. Back in the center, as the Carthaginian infantry fell back before them, the Romans pressed on, prodding and cutting through the retreating enemy line. Sword in hand, the centurions and tribunes shouted orders through the deafening noise of the screams and the clattering of weapons, urging the maniples to charge together, sending more and more men into the concaved Punic center, which seemed like it will soon break. Conversely, Hannibal and Mago pushed the men to resist a while longer, trying to gain every precious second, hoping that the Spanish and Gallic...
Right now I'm thinking, Hannibal's got backup. He hasn't used them yet. Like, Hannibal's in the center, like, of the middle of this giant battle, man. Like, that's right. Leaders, man, lead from the front. I just think it's cooler and braver. Anyways, yeah, he's still got his reserves, and he hasn't used them yet. I figured maybe he'd use them to push him back, but I think Hannibal's got a different use for him. I think maybe, I don't know. Like, when they get harassed here, he might push these guys up on either side to flank him. I don't know, man. Man, it looks like Rome's like so close to breaking through the line. Oh my God, what's going to happen?
Trying to gain every precious second, hoping that the Spanish and Gallic cavalry will come to their aid. But as more and more legionaries were drawn inwards, the Roman breakthrough was inevitable, and the pressure on the center finally broke the Punic line. The Gauls and Spanish at first moved back facing the enemy, with flurries of fighting still occurring, but before long, they turned and routed. With the enemy now on the run, Paulus and Servilius poured more men into the gap, refusing to give the Carthaginians any chance to rally and reform their lines. The overcrowded Roman center surged forward into the salient. Hannibal's infantry on either side of the gaping hole managed to maintain their lines, but were nevertheless forced to retreat in good order. Meanwhile, up the field, Hasdrubal had reformed his squadrons and charged at Varro's formation, realizing that he could not move against the legions in the center before the threat of Roman cavalry was removed. Until now, Varro successfully held the flank, but seeing the incoming Carthaginians, the consul knew that the Roman cavalry on the other wing must have routed, and he could not see what was going on in the center. Unsure if the day was lost, and facing annihilation himself against a force 3 times his own, Varro fled the field.
What?
The Numidians gave chase, while Hasdrubal once again had to stop to rest and reform his cavalry, before he could turn them towards the rear of the Roman infantry.
Fled the field.
Back in the center, legionaries in their tens of thousands pressed forward to complete the rout of the enemy. As they advanced into the gap, the maniples lost all cohesion, turning into a disorganized mob that rushed forward, with their officers barely able to control small groups of men in their own immediate vicinity. This mattered little, however, as the Romans could taste victory, having punched straight through the enemy's center. Hannibal relied on trickery and ruse in his prior victories, but it now seemed that the clear field at Cannae offered no possibility for him to set up an ambush.
You got reserves.
But as the mass of Romans streamed forward, they found themselves between the columns of Libyan infantry that moved against the pursuing troops.
Yeah.
Incredibly, the Carthaginian general outwitted the Romans yet again. By carefully masking the position of the Libyans behind his troops in the front and using the clouds of dust raised by the fighting, Hannibal concealed his best infantry from the enemy on an open field, luring the greatest army Rome has ever assembled into an ambush set in plain view, in effect letting the legions outflank themselves.
He hid them?
As the Libyans pressed the overextended and disorganized mass on both sides, the momentum of the Roman attack dissolved, and the troops were no longer under anyone's control. Hannibal and Mago rallied most of the routing Gallic and Spanish troops, turning to rejoin the fighting, while on the opposite side of the field, Hasdrubal charged into the rear of the enemy infantry. As the compression of the legions began, the utter defeat of the Roman army was now inevitable. With the maniples hopelessly intermingled, they could no longer reform their lines. To make matters worse, Libyan troops looked similar to Roman legionaries, having been equipped with Roman armor, helmets, and shields that they stripped from the dead at Trebia, Trasimene, and Geronium.
Hold on a second.
The legionaries felt they were no longer protected, and helmets and shields, they could no longer reform their lines. To make matters worse, Libyan troops looked similar to Roman legionaries, having been equipped with Roman armor, helmets, and shields that they stripped from.
Dang! They use that to look similar so the Romans wouldn't attack them. And then, like, you know, if you don't, when you're like, so you know, a friend or foe, you know, you're looking at them and you don't want to, you know, you're gonna hesitate because you don't want to hit your friend, and by then it's too late. You don't got like a spear in the face or a sword cutting your head off or something. I don't know, but then damn, man, damn, look at this crap, man. The guy got surrounded. Hannibal got him surrounded, dude. Look at it. I mean, they're still outnumbered back here, but they just need to hold them off while they just. I'm worried about it. I mean, Valor, what's his name, coming back with his cavalry at the last second. I'm worried about that right now. Man, this is intense, dude.
Legionaries, having been equipped with Roman armor, helmets, and shields that they stripped from the dead at Trebia, Trasimene, and Geronium. The legionaries felt they were no longer protected on the flanks, and with the enemy seemingly amongst them, their nervousness soon turned to panic. Hannibal turned the strength of the Roman infantry, their deep, overwhelming formation, against them. As their ranks contracted under the pressure of multiple attacks, centurions and tribunes tried in vain to improvise, as movement became ever harder in the confined space.
Oh my God.
Paulus and Servilius fought heroically, leading a stiff resistance, but both were eventually cut down during the fighting.
Wow.
Small groups of legionaries tried forming rough formations, but most were too exhausted and stood no chance against the fresh Libyans who were kept in reserve for most of the day. Some of the Roman troops, weary and fatigued, simply gave up, no longer having the strength to raise their weapons.
Wow.
As the hours passed, the battle became a one-sided massacre.
Oh my God.
The fighting went on until dark, but there was little to no tactical sophistication in this final stage of the battle, as the Carthaginians systematically slaughtered most of the trapped infantry.
Wow.
In the end, widespread Roman resistance collapsed, and those who had any strength left in them managed to flee towards the Roman camps and the nearby towns. Hannibal had won an unbelievable victory. By sundown, some 50,000 Roman infantry and 2,700 cavalry lay dead or dying on the field at
Wow.
Cannae. The gory sight gave pause even to the most hardened of observers, as nearly 3,000 tons of human flesh was left to rot in the August sun.
That's
The
so
true
true.
fruits of Hannibal's tactical masterpiece.
He
But
won?
achieving this slaughter cost Hannibal dearly. 5,700 of his men fell, a high figure for a victorious army in ancient times, which is testament to the harsh fighting on the day. Although it is worth noting that the Carthaginians were significantly outnumbered until the very end of the battle, which also played a role in the relatively high casualties for Hannibal's army.
Damn.
Nevertheless, the Roman leadership was decimated.
Oh my
Consul Paulus, Proconsul Servilius, and Marcus Minucius Rufus were killed in the battle, along with 80 senators, 2 quaestors, 29 out of 48 military tribunes, some 300 equestrians, with many others captured and enslaved.
Wow.
Never has there been a defeat that struck so hard at the very heart of Roman society. And as night fell on August 2nd, 216 BC, Rome's very future was left in doubt.
What?
Credit goes to our awesome patrons
Hold
who
on a
make
second, you
videos
can
like
stop
this
right
one
there.
possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our...
How you gonna stop right there to even see what happened next? What the heck is going on here? Oh yeah, they're not done the series. That's right. The series isn't over yet. You guys said that. Oh man. Uh man. Let me go back here. He won? I was totally expecting Hannibal, like, because I know, I guess I forgot that the series wasn't over, so I thought this was like the last battle, like this is the end all say all, and Hannibal will go out with a great fight and all that, but he won. Look at this stuff, man. We got like 80 senators gone. The 2 leaders gone. Wow. Let me go back to this. Hold on a second. Look at that, man. Like, he got him swallowed whole. That was genius. I seen it playing out though. Like, I knew once like the cavalry took off, like it's like that. That's why they had to hold them. They had to wait for the cavalry to rest and get back together to come from behind. You know, I was definitely thinking that. And then the reserves, I was like, those reserves got to be used for something. If they haven't used the reserves to kind of back them up already, then they had, once they started coming down, I was like, yeah, they're definitely using the reserves to sandwich them through. But I was thinking, like, kind of like when that was happening, why isn't anyone attacking their reserves? But they didn't see them. Like, you know, the dust and I guess the battle, they just didn't see them sitting over there. Which that's amazing that they didn't see them. You know, where you go here. Go back. Where we got? Like that right there. Like, look like this. All that dust. They don't even see these guys over here. Like, that's amazing. Then you got it from behind here. Wow. That is genius. Genius. You're outnumbered. Man, like, talk about knowing your enemy. You know, Hannibal knows his enemy because Hannibal, you know, his tactics are not, you can't read them in a textbook, you know. I mean, like, Roman can't just look at past battles and go, this is what Hannibal's going to do. But, like, as far as, like, Hannibal's knowing Roman tactics, Hannibal pretty much knew to look at the landscape what Roman's going to do just based on, like, their history. And, you know, they want to beat you straight up. They don't want tricks. You know, they want their army just to beat you with brute force. And so they can, you know, kind of like, you know, say, haha, we beat you like this. We didn't you need any tricks, whatnot, you know. But Hannibal's like, man, I'll use your pride against you. I'll use that, you know, and for my advantage. And he did it for masterful battle. And wow, that happened fast. That was like 22 minutes. I felt like 5 minutes. Uh, but wow, guys, no wonder like people, are saying that they used this for, like they still talk about it today because it makes sense. Like, I don't know any kind of battle that happened like this. And so, like, because obviously I knew that there wasn't just going to be like brute force, bam, done, because I think we've seen that plenty of times in battles. But like, I've never seen anything like this before. Like, his army, you know, the ones that stood there, like, being hidden by the dust, were in plain daylight and in the middle of open field. There's no trees or hills or anything. Like, they're open field, and they just go unnoticed. I mean, I don't know if they were noticed at the beginning of the battle, but they just didn't think about it. And then, of course, when the chaos starts, and there's no way you can form your army after that. And I don't know. They just didn't see them. They just didn't see them. It's amazing. So wow, that's crazy, man. It's kind of just cool to kind of see how things started off with. It's like you got your main battle, and then it's like it's just really kind of cool when you can look back at it and it's like the genius of what starts happening. Like, once it was here, I'm like, about here, and once they started like to fall back and like retreat, I was like, yeah, they're definitely using these guys to sandwich them in. And I was like, yeah, the cavalry's got to come behind. I didn't think they would attack. What's that dude's name? I don't know, but I guess the communic. Where's he? What's his name? Yeah, Barrow. I guess they didn't use the communication. I guess there's so much chaos here. There was no communication to them that he just thought that the day was lost already, because that could have been a huge difference. Like, game changer. I mean, it might not. I'm still. I don't think know if it would, I don't think it would change the outcome, because I think uh Carthrage's cavalry would have came in, slaughtered him anyway. It might just took a little longer to join the fight behind him, but I think this the same outcome was going to happen. But Pharaoh fled the field. Like, I mean, like, maybe they sent a few more of these guys after to chase them to make sure they didn't come back. I don't know, but that's amazing, man. Everyone died. Hannibal survived, and they killed all the other leaders. That's awesome. That's just awesome, dudes. Awesome. Like, what a treat. What a treat. And what's also so awesome is that I know this series continues to go, but this was the latest one they put out. Like, it would have sucked if like the previous episode was the last one and we had to wait for this one. Like, I'm glad this one was the last one and we didn't have to wait for it, because it's like, yes, we have to save the best for last, and we still got the aftermath is still to come after this. But awesome, dudes, awesome battle, man. That was awesome. I don't know what else to say, guys. I really don't know what else to say. Oh, it was amazing. Definitely worth the wait, and definitely just awesome, guys. That was just really cool and intense, and you can kind of see it. You can kind of like picture in your head like how this was going to go down once things started like pulling back. You kind of could see like, yeah, this is how it's going to work. It's like, is it going to? This is how it's going to play out. I wasn't sure if it was actually going to work, because I honestly thought Hannibal was going to lose. I forgot that this continues on where I thought Hannibal had to lose this, because I thought it was kind of like the end of the series. But no, he lives to see another day. But like, he did take a lot of casualties, and he needs every man he can get. But he basically slaughtered him, man. Where are those numbers at again? So I'm sorry. I'm kind of going back and forth. I know you guys have already probably get cooked away right now, but I'm just want to see something. Go back to, all right, casualties. See, total fit, so 50,000, 4,000, 4,500, 200, only 200 cavalry. So the casualties, 50,000 infantry. Like, that's a huge number. That's like, for every 10, what, I'm like using my horrible math now. For every 12 people that died by the Romans, only one died by Carthage, and they were totally outnumbered. That's just amazing to me. Like those front, like the front guys for Carthage, Man, those guys are some warriors. They had to hold on for that cavalry to come from behind and just go back enough to where their guys can come from the side. Like, man, talk about some warriors. And you got to give it up even for like all of the Roman leaders and Carthage leaders. They were in the middle of the battle. I mean, they went down fighting. They weren't sitting back there on a hillside trying to kind of like, you know, figure it out from a hillside and wave flags to signal their army down there. No, they were on the battlefield in the middle of it, just fighting for lives, fighting for their country. So you got to give it up for both sides, man. They gave it all. But Hannibal, man, no wonder that name is like a legend because wow, that's just a legendary battle right there. But that's awesome, dudes. Come on now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, man. Please hit the like and subscribe. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope you guys really enjoy this stuff as much as I do, because you have to if you're watching this, right? You got to appreciate, even as I don't have a stake in either side, like so. I just appreciate, like cool history and cool battles and stuff like that. But even if you're like just you're going for the Roman side and you have like heritage or whatnot from it, you have to appreciate just what Hannibal did here. He was totally outnumbered, and not his land, and like that's like he did like exactly what he needed to do. He knew exactly what to do. It's just amazing and perfect. And so you gotta give it a hand and props to this battle in this episode in the Hannibal. Very well done, very well done. Uh, the music, everything is very well done. History March, you guys are amazing. Props to History March. You guys need to go subscribe to them and go check out some more of their videos so you can come back to me and let me know there's some more cool battle like this one over there. But anyways, guys, like, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much for. Well, this is not the end of this series, but oops, it's not the end of the series. I know we got more episodes to go. I know some of you want me to watch the third Punic War. I'm gonna probably. I don't even know what I'm doing next because there's. I didn't. I totally forgot that I might do the Crusades. I'm not sure yet. I'm not gonna go to the third Punic War yet. I might wait for that because I want to see maybe soon enough if we get some more episodes from History March here because I don't want to start that when I really haven't finished the second one. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense to me. So I might delay and do some other stuff before I get back to the third Punic War because I want to do the third Crusade. But anyways, guys, I'll figure out some more what I'm gonna do. I have no idea. I have no idea right now. What I probably might do some single stuff, maybe some 2 or 3, some small. I don't know. I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna do yet because I don't want you to hold me to it. But anyways, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this. Appreciate you guys watching this with me. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in future videos and hope you guys continue the journey along with me. And this was amazing series. I can't wait for more episodes because I really want to know what happened next, like the aftermath. Like, does he go to Rome now because he just routed the army, or do they get back? Does Rome get the Does Rome kind of like the leftover? But they lost so many like senators and stuff. Like how do they reform their army? I mean, there's still like enough left. I mean, do they go back to Rome to man the walls, and then maybe Hannibal goes to Rome, or I don't know. I don't really. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just stop thinking about it because I'm delaying here. Anyways, you guys like and subscribe. I hope you really enjoyed this. I already said all this stuff. I don't know what else to say. So I'm going to say you guys have a very good night, very good evening. I'll see you guys again. And you guys are awesome. Appreciate it. Love you guys. And I think that's it, guys. Amazing battle props. And I'm just going to put stop because I don't know what else to say. Anyways, bye, guys. Peace.